Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's drawing with the da-da-da-da. So I am planning on getting back into doing more live stream video type stuff like this. This is just kind of a test. I'm just playing around, trying to see how it works. All that fun jazz, see if it's doing what I want it to do. And let's see. Okay, so it is turning into a live stream on my Facebook. There we go. That is working. I need to figure out how to get this on Blue Sky too. So, but I just figured, what the heck? I haven't done this in a while. I really want to get back into doing this kind of stuff, having a little bit of fun, and figuring out how to make this all happen. So, oh, let's see, I can invite guests. I've got the screen share happening. Got a little chat window. Okay, there we go. I can see my chat window. I have a share feature. You have to excuse me. I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. Um, eh, I'll figure out how to get this on Blue Sky eventually. Um, but for now, I'm sharing it through here, through YouTube, Facebook. No idea who's going to be able to see what, but hopefully it will be fun. So, got my live comments here. I've got my app. I got a little comment thing here so I can see if anybody comments on anything. And I am just going to doodle for a few minutes to test this out and see how it is working. Um, I'll come up with some kind of a little schedule for whatever of when I'm going to try to do these in the future, um, moving forward, stuff like that. So for now, however, I'm going to do just a little bit of doodling here. I'm working in Photoshop right now. I usually do my roughs in Photoshop, and then I'll do my inks and whatnot in Clip Studio on my iPad. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure out how to do the iPad stuff um, and do it through this. I'd like to be able to because that's where I do some of the stuff that I like the most and it looks the best. But for now, I'm just going to play around, do a little doodling. I've got my document here, and how I generally do this is I've got an extra layer here that I'm going to make my blue lines. And double click, color overlay, normal, and I'll turn it into something that I can see, but that is in fact blue. This way, anything I draw, no matter what color the brush for here is actually a red, but it will not matter. I'm going to turn it pencil, Kyle, ultimate pencil hard, and I am going to doodle something. What am I going to doodle? I really should have planned this, shouldn't I? Really, just making this stuff up as we go. Want to have a little bit of fun. It's the end of the day. Still technically at work. You can see I'm in my office. Most of these will probably be done from home, but maybe not. Literally looking at the toys on my desk to decide what I feel like doodling. Because I don't feel like starting this doodle off by drawing cartoon me. It just feels weird. Let's see. Oh, my brain locked up. I am going to draw for poops and giggles. Let's see here. Wow, I am completely indecisive today. Screw it. I'm gonna draw Bugs Bunny. There we go. Something I do not need reference to draw. Never drawn the character professionally, but it's Bugs Bunny. It's not that hard. I've drawn him a zillion times. You get to do your little structures, understructure stuff, and the shapes. Let's see. I'm gonna tilt that head a little bit so that I can put him at more of a sassy angle here. Lima bean body. Again, the idea here is I'm just going to do something fun, something quick. These will be more structured in the future and most likely be focused on projects that I'm working on. So it'll be a Giant Girl or Finding D or Dandy or some of my Haven Wolf Chronicles stuff. If I feel like drawing those characters for something. Usually I'll be working on strips, but right now I don't have a strip in the pipeline that I've got a script that I'm ready to work on. And again, I wanted to do this kind of as like a quick, quick, mean and dirty kind of just come in, do a fun doodle, spend a couple of minutes, test the software and make sure it's working properly. Then in the future, when I got it all sussed out, I'll be able to go, okay, cool. This is how this will work. So hopefully, what was that old Chuck Jones quote about how to draw a Bugs Bunny? You just draw a carrot and then attach a rabbit to it. A little wider at the wrists. Do the old hand behind his back thing. It just seems appropriate for the pose. Work out the shape of his eyes and then figure out what expression I want to give him. Again, I am not striving for anything even remotely on model here. Uh, just having fun. So the proportions are wonky. His legs are a little. I kind of gave him the stubby legs, but I'm not liking how that's coming out because so now, aha, the joys of digital. That proportion ain't right. I'm not happy with it. Da-da-da. That looks more like a Bugs Bunny proportion. Aha. You know what? I'm going to give him a little gesturing hand here just for fun. I imagine he's spouting a catchphrase. That's a basic blue line rough here. What I'll generally do is drop the opacity and then do kind of a red line layer. Same dealio. I'll set the color layer to like a deeper red. Like this is if I'm doing something for someone else where I'll want to tighten it up so they really have a good idea of what the finished art's going to look like. It's not fully inked, but everything is pretty well roughed out. And I've been doing a lot of strips and like concept strip sketches for my Patreon in this style, where I'll do just the kind of the slightly tighter sketch, and then I'll put them up on the Patreon as a bonus feature. Not every idea needs to necessarily be completely fully inked, fully rendered out. Sometimes you just want to have the rough idea kind of sussed out. I gave him a little rough of the chest there, and that's not bugs. That is, give him the dandy chest. I mean, at the end of the day, as much as I enjoyed working on Dandy, it very much was Looney Tunes inspired visually. Um, and while that's still a part of my DNA, I'm happy that with like Finding D, while people can pick out some of my artistic influences, it's not quite as obvious as it was when I was doing Dandy, where everyone's like, "Wow, that looks like Wile E. Coyote," and you just like, "Oh God, it's brown and canine, so it's got to be that." I guess so. Two Whiskers, 1950s bugs. Apparently that was a thing. See the eyelid shapes changed a little bit. They're going up instead of down now. That definitely happens when I'm working. I will tweak this kind of stuff tremendously. Not going to ink this one, mostly because I have to swap programs to do that properly. Because while I've got brushes that I can ink in Photoshop, none of them look as good as the ones I use in Clip Studio. Just, nature of the beast. I've got a comment. Nicholas Egg says drawing off model can be more fun than trying to be as accurate as possible. I thoroughly agree. And frankly, I kind of wish that some of these modern productions would take a bit of a page from the classic stuff and let like I like the new Looney Tune cartoons that have been running on Max the last few years. I cannot repeat Broad. I can't remember the name of the director who does all those, but they're all in that one same style. Um, they all look pretty much the same. Like sometimes you go, okay, I can tell that's a different animation house, but it's not as defined of a, oh yeah, I can see that's a, like, in the classics, you could tell a Chuck Jones cartoon just by the single static drawing of bugs or what have you. If it was Bob McKimson or Friz Freeling or Bob Clampett or any of them. And even in the 90s, when the Amblin Warner Brothers cartoons, so your Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and the like, you could tell if it was a John McClanahan cartoon from Star Toons, or if it was those Kennedy cartoons, the director's name I'm blanking. There was a director whose name absolutely escapes me. Yeah, I changed I got rid of the dandy poof on the chest, Ed. Uh, Again, that's the not working off of reference. Although I mean, I technically do I have a little figurine from the Looney Tunes show, which was the Jessica Bortuski designs. I hope I'm not butchering your name, Jessica. I loved that show and I loved those designs, and if you didn't, that's fine, but also suck it. um, I love the little purple tint to them that they had, and it was a different take on the characters, but I really liked it. And I love the visual design. That's one that I've wanted to try to play around in and see if I could get a handle on. But for this, I'm doing it myself, and I definitely feel with a lot of the there's a lot of comic books they're doing based on cartoons these days. Like there's the Lower Decks comics, which is fun, but they work so hard to stay on model with the cartoon that I think the book suffers. I feel like it would look so much better if they let cartoonists kind of do things a little bit in their own style. That's just me. Huh. Ironically, the kind of blue that I picked out for this background here just to fill it in, you know what? I'm going to undo this because that is basically 1950s Bugs Blue. Um, he had a lot of different colors over the years. It's never just been a matte gray. In the 50s, like late 50s and early 60s cartoons, there was a lot more blue in Bugs's gray than not. It was much more of a like a burnt brown gray in some of the earlier cartoons in the early 40s. Again, the stuff in the like I think the 2010 or 12 cartoon series was very much a purple gray, which was partly inspired by like the eyelids on Chuck Jones cells. Like they had these, they were always just like slightly off purple, which I always liked, and that was a lot of fun. So okay, here we go. A basic little Bugs Bunny, nothing fancy, just a quick doodle to be kind of like test the software, test out how it's working, do a little bit of a fun drawing, have some fun, gab for a bit. I'm going to try to set up some kind of a schedule to do these more regularly moving forward, something that might be fun for everybody to, you know, a time where folks might want to, be able to chime in and have some fun with it. And I'll do that as an opportunity to work on strips. Either I'll be doing roughs like this, or full ink strips if I can. Figure out how to get it working on my. Uh, well, I mean, they did standardize it at the time, but they changed. Ed asked, you think they would have standardized it right up front so that it would be easier to mix the paint? They did standardize it from cartoon to cartoon, but it changed over time as the directors altered their styles and the way they were doing it. And so, like, it would still be the same bluish gray in most of all the cartoons that were coming out in the same time period, but over time it would change. And then, the different directors had their own different model sheets and style guides that they used, and they weren't forcing Chuck Jones cartoons to look like Bob McKimson cartoons or Fritz Freeling cartoons or anything like that. Like this is way off model. His head's way too big. The eyes are, all that. I don't care. It looks like Bugs Bunny to me. That's always been to me one of the advantages of the Looney Tunes over a lot of the other characters is they've always been way more adaptable. I'm going to actually use a light bit. No, wrong. That's the wrong layer. I'm going to a little bit here to indicate the pink. Even though I'm still just using the same two colors I sketched in, I'm making it look more like there's actually color here. Almost like a cheap t-shirt printing where I'm like, I've got some color. There we go. Nose is a little too big, all kinds of fun stuff. But again, so yeah, there we go. I'm going to try to do these a little bit more frequently. Set something up where I work on new strips or new pieces for the Patreon or whatever, or fun pieces if I have a character piece I want to do or a pinup. Sometimes I get that bug up my butt that I just want to draw something for fun. This might be a great way to force myself to draw more for fun, is if I'm sharing it. But I'm going to try to keep them in the roughly in the hour-long layer, unless it's one of those moods where I'm going to be like, I just feel like drawing for hours and hours, keep me company. Which I will absolutely do from time to time. But again, thank you for those who were watching and got a couple comments. Got Nicholas Egg 02 commenting, Sabrina, Ed Smith, lots of fun stuff. Hope to see you next time. I will be back doing more of these in the future. I really would like this to be a thing this year that I do more of. So thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Once I figure out how to stop doing this. Where's the... I can't do it from Facebook. I should probably do it from the correct software. End stream. That is the button I'm looking for. See, this is why I'm doing this unannounced test, because I'm smart. SMRT.